Good to see you. How's Leonard doing?
Good evening, and I want to welcome everybody to the Monday, August the 11th, 2025 meeting of the Rome City Commission. We start every meeting off with a invocation and a pledge to the flag. And tonight, our former mayor and Commissioner Jamie Doss has that honor. If you will, stand if you feel, if you want to stand and join us.
It's great to have a good crowd here tonight. So I'm going to share the Lord's Prayer, and I would wish everyone would join with me. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. Please address the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Mr. Clerk, if you will, call the roll.
Yes, sir. Mayor McDaniel.
Here.
Commissioner Bojo.
Here.
Brock. Here. Cochran.
Here.
Beeman.
Here.
Doss.
Here.
Quick.
Here.
Collins.
Here. Thank you. You received the minutes of our July 2025 Joint Commission meeting, and we will approve those by common consent. We have no proclamations. We do have 3 guests tonight, and we're honored to have representatives from the Rome City Schools here tonight to give us an update. And Dr. Eric Holland, I'm going to turn it over to you, and if you want to go to the podium or whoever you have speaking on behalf of the school system.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I think I can just click here. Ms. Fricks. Oh, there we go. So to the Sammy Rich and to our city commissioners, thank you so much for allowing me to do our presentation on our budget. Before I get started, I just want to highlight our school board, our school governance team. For the 2nd consecutive year, our school board was recognized an exemplary school board. And here's a kicker to that. For 2 consecutive years, our school board has annually adopted a balanced budget, reviewed updates our district financed by governance leadership team in every public meeting every month, developed an annual budget calendar, which I covered today, that include public comments and public input. Our school board has aligned our budget to our strategic plan, our strategic goal, which drives all the decisions we make here at Rome City Schools. We have identified our school on the Senate Bill 68 Godot list. We don't have any moderate high-risk audits on our records. Also, we provide a 1 regular scheduled meeting agenda that reflects our action item on our budget and our strategic plan. Here's our strategic plan. As I shared with the Finance Committee with the city commissioners, this is what we use to make decisions within our district. Within our strategic plan, it covers our 4 pillars, our 7 priorities. And when things start to happen, when we start to make money in our decision, we use this to make a decision that is in the best interest of our district. Here's our 4 pillars. We use these 4 areas, 25% of each, 100% of all, to make good decisions within our budget. And here's our 7 priorities. So what I want to get to today is our budget calendar, our budget structure, so everybody can understand how we really do business at Rome City Schools. Every November, we go into our budget preparation process and procedures and make any changes and recommendations within our operation plan, as well as our FTE counts, which happen the first October in every school year. as well as our certified personnel inventory reports that basically let us know how many teachers we earn versus how many students we earn. Obviously, students and staff equals how we get money from the state. In January, we move into our cabinet meetings where we meet with every single building level leader and district level people to talk about our budget, our priorities, and making sure that we're good stewards of taxpayers' money as we start to lay out a budget plan for February. We send out letter of intents in February to see how many of our staff is returning, coming back, how many open positions we have, plus we establish our school board budget calendar as well as we get ready for our March meeting, again, with department head, with principals, as we start to really look at our tax digest and any potential revenue we have coming in. March and April, we consolidate all of our overall budget-based department requests. We review those quests. We look at what the governor is putting out in terms of our financial report and through his General Assembly, as well as meet with our city government, our tax assessor's office, just to make sure we are on the same page in terms of how much funding we'll have. In April, we have our annual school board budget retreat. We do it every year. It's open to the public. We go through every single department, every single line item with our school board to make sure everybody knows exactly how we're spending our money. In May, we have 2 public hearings that's required with our budget for review. We put it in the newspaper here, we put it on our website, and we do a current tax digest for 5 years of our tax appropriation. In June, we have our second meeting with public hearing to be held and to adopt our final budget. And we come here in May and have our city meeting with our city finance team to review all of our budget procedures and line items. And then obviously here in September, we will sign off on our budget submitted to the DOE. Here's our actual date. We have our first reading, or we held our first reading on May 13, 2025. We had our second reading on June 10, 2025. We had a budget meeting here with the city commissioners on May 28, 2025, and we will be submitting our budget to the state on September 1st, 2025. I'm going to click on this just to give you like a overview of how. Can I click on that? So, City Commission, in front of you, you have a copy of our budget information in the packet that was given to you by our CFO. I was trying to click on this link right here so you can see it's a 14-page document. Every line item within that budget information tells you exactly what we spend every single cent and every single dime on here at Rome City Schools. So if you look in your packet in front of you, you will have a copy of our budget information piece. Within there, there's 13 pages of line items that show you from how we spend money from the school bus on our instructions and to all of our staff members. Our budget has been very transparent from the beginning, and we have worked really, really hard to be very transparent with how we're spending our money. At this time, I have Mr. Stutter come up. I know there were some questions about Rome City Schools being in the red. Rome City Schools are so many $1 million over budget. So today our job is just to provide the facts so you guys can have the exact information to show that we are in great financial situation. Our fund balance is as strong as it's ever been. And our process and procedures has been very, very good. And we're very proud of what we've done with our budget since 2022. So at this time, Mr. Stutter would go a little deeper to answer some of those concerns that I heard that you guys have about, in terms of our being so much money over budget. So Mr. Stutter will give you an overview at this time. And you do have a copy of that one-pager in your files.
Good evening. Thank you for the invitation to come and provide you with an update of our budget and really an overview of our financial stability as a whole. Before we get started, as Dr. Holland mentioned, you do have a copy of a one-page handout in your folder. It's front and back. The 2 pages are up on the screen now. I know it's hard to read, but I do have a slide for each one of those sections so we can all see that a little better out here in the audience. Something we can't see as well, but is also in your packet, is a 5-page portion of our financial statements. Financial statements as a whole are over 70 pages, but these are the 5 pages that we want to concentrate on tonight. I will refer to those a couple of times, and then at the end of my slides, I have a snippet of the areas we're going to talk about so everyone in the audience can see that a little bit better. Rome City Schools as a whole, we don't operate as an island. We're not over here on the side, just doing our own thing with no checks or balances. We have a lot of oversight on several different levels. Locally, we have the City Board of Education, City Commission at the state level. We have the Department of Education, Department of Audits and Accounts. And at an independent level, each year we have an annual audit by Malden Jenkins CPAs. And each one of those levels works together to help us provide transparency for our financials. The Board of Education approves the annual budget, monitors our revenues, expenditures, day-to-day type items. The state agencies will assess our fiscal health. We'll talk about that in a moment. And our compliance with regulations, laws, that kind of thing. The auditors will offer an opinion over our financial statement and suggest internal control improvements if they see the need to do that. At the state level, the Georgia Department of Audits has a threshold that they use to determine whether a school district is financially healthy or not. And that number is 12% of your general fund balance as compared to your total expenditures. So if you have this 5-page packet out with you, you can look at the page noted page 16 down at the bottom. It's highlighted in orange, our fund balance number in the general fund, first column. I'll pull that up on the screen here in a second for everyone. Take that number, divide it by our total expenditures for the year, and hopefully that number will be over 12%. Now you can see in FY23, when myself, Dr. Holland, assumed our current positions, we noticed, right away that, hey, we're not going to hit that 12% number this year. You can see it was 8.5. We made some changes, some decisions without cutting programs to start to turn that around in the positive direction. 2024 is 11.1, and when we receive our audit later this year, we will be above that 12% threshold to be considered financially healthy by the Georgia Department of Audits. Now the question is, and what we're going to look at tonight, why doesn't total fund balance, which is $113 million, match net position, which shows as negative $95 million? There's those two numbers. That's in your packet. I just snipped. I could not put those on the screen. There's no way we could see it. On the left, we have the statement of net position. You can see down there at the bottom in yellow, negative 95 or 94.9. On the right side, you have our statement of revenue, expenditures, and changes in fund balance that shows our general fund balance and total fund balance of $113 million. So why do those numbers not match? Well, they're telling two different things. They're measuring two different things. They're answering two different questions. So if you look at fund balance, that's your short-term financial position, right? Your day-to-day activities, revenues, expenditures. Can we pay our bills? Can we pay our employees? What do you have in the bank? What's your checking fund balance? That's your fund balance. Net position looks at a much longer-term financial position and includes all liabilities, all assets, liabilities like pension fund payments that we'll talk about in a moment. So how can we be considered financially healthy by the Department of Audits, and yet when you open one of the pages of the financial statements and look at the bottom, it's negative $95 million. That feels bad, right? Well, two reasons. One of them I think is easy to understand. One of them maybe not as much, but I'll try to explain it. So let's start with the hardest one first. About 10 years ago, the Georgia Accounting Standards Board, GASB, as you see on the slide, issued two new statements, okay? Statement number 67 and 68. And what they said in those statements is they established a reporting standard for pension plans. And effectively what that means is Rome City Schools, all school districts in the state of Georgia, must report the present value of future retirement benefits. So we have to report right now what our liability is for future retirement benefits that we will pay in teachers' retirement system to our employees that have retired or will retire. And you can see that's a pretty large number right there. In FY24, it was $90 million. You can also see how much it can fluctuate year to year. In FY22, it was only $25 million. That's not a number I come up with. Okay, there's an actuary down it's in the Capitol. They work that out for us every year. They send us the number. They look at number of retirees, life expectancy, how's the investment portfolio of TRS doing. All those things come together to give us that number. So just in FY24, that's a negative $90 million for us because that's future payments that we have to put on our net position, our statement of position right now. The other one has to do with capital assets. The school system, school buildings, we do not report the school buildings on our financial statements. We do not report those assets. Those assets are reported under the City of Rome. What we do report are all the construction expenditures, the maintenance expenditures, all the liabilities to get those buildings built, we report. But we don't have the asset to offset that on our books. You can see that final sentence there on the bottom. This causes expenses to show without the offsetting asset, which again lowers net position even further. Now, why would you need to know those numbers? Well, it depends on what question you're trying to answer. If we ceased operations today, close the doors, we're done, some entity, somebody would be liable for those future pension payments, right? Or if someone was trying to acquire RCS. When another business is trying to acquire a business, they want to know that net position number. They want to know your liabilities now and in the future and your assets. That's why that number is important. But if you just want to know, here's those numbers again very quickly. The left, statement of net position, and on the right. The one on the right is really the one we want to look at for day-to-day activities. Can we pay our bills? What is our financial health? That number on the right under the general column, that's the number Department of Audit, uses to determine if we're fiscally healthy. So if you want to know day-to-day, can we pay our bills? Can we pay our employees? What do we have in the bank? That's the statement of revenue, expenditures, and fund balance, day-to-day activities. It's extremely important if you're trying to read the financial statements to ask yourself, what is this report trying to tell the reader? What question is this trying to answer? Because it covers all the questions that any reader might have in that 75-page document. Now, I know it's difficult to use words to talk about numbers, right? But I hope I've answered some questions today. If you have any more, I will be happy to take those now.
Any commissioners have any questions?
I have one, Mr. President. This report that you just gave, you say you gave that same report to the financial department here, City of Rome, when y'all came?
Not this particular report. The report that's in your handout, the budget report, when we came to go over the budget, that packet.
Would that pretty much spell out the same thing?
Not necessarily, because this does talk about some actual numbers, whereas that report is our budget for the year. So those could be two different things.
Did Malden and Jenkins, same financial establishment that we use here at the city,
Yes, sir.
said that y'all was in stable and good shape?
Yes, sir.
Then?
Yes. Yeah, I called and asked them this week because I've never been in the position, to have to worry about a negative net position because I've never been in an entity that had one. But I asked them, what would you do? What would Malden and Jenkins, what would a audit firm do if they had a client with a negative fund balance? And they said they would have to report a note disclosure in the opening paragraphs of the financial statements for the reader to know that this entity could have some struggles. They have negative fund balance.
One other quick question. Mr. Manager and Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner, if you will speak in the microphone so people at home can hear.
Mr. Manager, and Mr. Chairman of the Finance, did you guys have the same opinion of Malden and Jenkins when you got the report from this group back some months ago? That Malden and Jenkins said there was no problem and it was a good report?
I'm not sure I understand the question, Commissioner.
Was the opinion of the city and the Finance Department Chair, which is, thank you, Commissioner Bojo, Commissioner Quick, as well as Commissioner Beaman, did y'all have this opinion that?
I'm not sure that we were told Malding and Jenkins did the report.
Well, let me try to answer that a different way, Commissioner. We routinely hear from Rome City School Board at Finance, as you know, and when they come and present their budget to the Finance Committee, which that would have probably been our most recent conversation. And so, again, we have a pretty good understanding and idea of where they are financially. And as most people know, and maybe some don't know, part of the difference in our school system is that the City of Rome funds Rome City Schools on a monthly basis. So city taxpayers pay their city school tax, and then we fund Rome City Schools. And so a little different than how, say, our friends over the county operate. They collect separately. They set their own millage rate. So we have a different relationship. Rome City Schools is a component unit of the City of Rome, and so and that's one of the things for us in having an auditor that's capable and competent enough, because there's not a ton of independent school systems out there, and so and Rome's pretty complex to begin with, but yeah, I guess if that answers your question, we've not had any sort of misunderstanding of what's going on financially, at least.
I asked that question to ask the next question. Is basically what the city has said and is saying, which is no increase with the millage rate, a slight increase with the millage rate, but not enough to afford.
No increase, yeah.
No increase. But you had to arrive at those numbers to consult with the school board to even be able to put that together, did you not?
Oh, yeah, of course. So when Rome City Schools presents their budget to the City Commission doesn't approve their budget, but by essence, the Rome City Commission sets the millage rate, which determines what their funding level is going to be. And so in effect, Rome City controls the budget by the adoption of our millage rate, which controls the funding source.
Well,
So, yes, sir.
The only reason I went through all that to say, I'm not on finance. And it was probably, I guess, my job to dig into what the chairman, pro temp, and Mr. Quick, I ain't heard nobody cheering for this here position for this here group, but the one sole commissioner that's on there, and that was Ms. Beaman. And because I was trying to figure out how did we arrive at this situation. This has never happened before. We all took in the position to be cheerleaders for our own school. And the evidence is Mr. Chair of Finance and Mr. Quick, is you guys. Who is?
Wayne Robinson.
Okay, all right. I wouldn't even mention Wayne. I thank you for taking up for Wayne tonight. But anyway, that's the point I was trying to make.
Understand.
Any other questions from any of the commissioners? We appreciate you coming tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Superintendent. Great.
And I want to say this, you are our school system, and we want you to do well. We only have one school system. We only have one high school, and we want you to do well. We're not like that bunch at the county. All these high schools everywhere. But you're our school system, and we want you to do well. And we appreciate you coming and making your presentation. I did look at your audit today and all of the material, and you had a good audit. So thank you. We have two other registered guests, Ken Wright. Ken, if you will, come to the podium and give us your name and address.
Ken Wright, PO 324, PO Box, Silver Creek,
You'll
Georgia.
have 3 minutes.
Okay, my reason for appearing today is to address what I believe is the most important issue facing our local government and citizens. It has nothing to do with taxes, education, law enforcement, nor budgets. I believe we have a crisis in our community and truly throughout the state and nation of a society that has now pitted government against citizens. It's created an us against them mentality only to serve at the detriment of everyone. For some reason, society now believes if someone disagrees with you, then you must hate them. In reality, there are times when I've agreed with every single commissioner and other times I've disagreed with every single commissioner. At no time do I hate anybody because of their opinions, even when I disagree. In fact, I don't enjoy being around someone that I know will just simply agree with me 100% of the time. That closes off conversations and debates. What I hope is commissioners will recognize is that citizens can provide valuable assistance to local government. We have citizens that have run entire companies, bringing them to profitability. We have citizens that have patents, even multiple patents, have written and published books. We have engineers, surgeons, attorneys, financial wizards, pretty much every realm of expertise you could ever desire. Yet government doesn't make an effort to reach out to these citizens for their advice. The reasons you should are multifold. First of all, with active participation from citizens and buy-in, it's much easier to pass legislation, referendums, and ordinances with citizens being stakeholders in the process. I know commissioners wonder at times why citizens aren't more active and don't attend meetings. Citizens are only given 3 minutes to speak, so by the time they introduce themselves and start to begin their conversation, it's time for them to stop speaking. Additionally, when citizens show up in mass and unite to oppose an issue, for example, downtown paid parking, a new Rome middle school, data centers, or millage rates, commissioners vote in opposition to the majority. Citizens quickly decide there's no point in showing up. Further, citizens can't ask questions or at least receive any answers, so there's no true discussion or interaction between government and citizens. This is a problem throughout the local, state, and federal government. So what is my point? I think we need to be an example for other cities, counties, and states by creating a forum in which citizens can truly be active in forming laws, rules, regulations, and decisions within government. I'm not requesting that citizens run the government, but that they be given an opportunity to help our community. With current technology, why not post on a public website every single agenda item 1 month in advance? Allow citizens to ask their questions, provide advice, but most importantly, with responses from the applicable person responsible in government. Many citizens don't participate nor even vote on issues because they simply don't understand and nobody will provide explanations. This would allow 1 month of interactive conversations to take place so that truly commissioners can support the will of the people, which is their ultimate responsibility. That is the caveat to this proposal, however. It's an expectation of citizens that commissioners represent their citizens and constituents. Quite honestly, commissioners and government officials have a right to their own opinions, but they don't have a right to their own vote. Their obligation is to vote according to the will of the people, the citizens. Include on the website an opportunity for citizens to discuss what they believe is important for the community. Commissioners truly have obligations that I suspect most citizens don't understand, and I suspect you even feel that the burden of the entire community is on the shoulder of these few commissioners. Yet you don't have to truly feel like that. You have an entire community of citizens that truly care about our community, being financially independent, fiscally responsible, well-educated, safe, and comfortable for all age groups. Listen to the ideas of citizens so that you will truly know what is important to them. Citizens should listen to commissioners to fully understand what is in critical importance to them as well.
Our next speaker is David Newby. David, if you will, give us your name and address, and you'll have 3 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm David Newby. I live at 3020 Calhoun Road, Northeast in Rome. And as a courtesy to Ken Wright, and by your permission, I would like to continue to read the thoughts that he was unable to finish. Thank you. I understand there are serious financial concerns in the city. The city has a pending enormous debt from bonds issued for a new middle school that is apparently unnecessary and unfortunately is in a failing school system. The majority of these city commissioners have nothing to do with this, yet 100% of these commissioners have to deal with this. Citizens need to understand that. However, we need to address the root cause of this problem to prevent reoccurrence. Firing people isn't pleasant or fun, but when a school system is failing, those in charge of running the school system need to be relieved of their position. Students need a quality education. Excuses like we have a lot of Hispanic students falls on deaf ears because the school system is in the bottom of the 25% of the state. In case you haven't been to Whitfield, Gordon, or Polk counties, and particularly counties in South Georgia, there are schools with a much higher prevalence of Hispanic students with exponentially higher academic performance. Bilingual teachers, a Spanish academy, and other options would have resulted in higher academics. While we have proven with Annie K. Davey and Maine Elementary that throwing money and new school buildings at the problem is an ineffective solution, we truly need to focus on working together. This isn't happening, not within the city and county, and not even within the same commissioners. That doesn't mean we have to agree 100% of the time. We just need to be respectful about opposing opinions, but more importantly, give everyone, citizens and commissioners, the opportunity to express their opinions. Doing this on the website would avoid citizens speaking so much at commission meetings. It would avoid long-winded participants for government and citizens. It would provide dialogue and interaction between everyone with multiple options to be presented. Citizens should come to the table with problems, only if they are open to assist in solving those problems, not just to complain. Commissioners should come to the table with open minds and truly listen and consider the input and ideals of citizens. We all work together so much more effectively as a community if we could simply do these basic things. We should not be enemies of each other, but all be working together to make this a safe, financially secure community with excellent employment, education, and health care, giving citizens a chance to make a difference other than those just relying on citizens to finance governments. These conclude the words of Mr. Ken Wright, and as a person who's lived here for 40-something years, who thought he was only going to be here 3 years and turned down every transfer that the company offered, for the past 22 years of my employment, I ran a company here. I worked with many of you, and I saw this community grow. I have a deep respect for all of you. I know what it's like to deal with payroll, to deal with employees, to deal with problems and frustrations. And I know that you do those every day of your life. I want to thank you personally for your willingness to serve this community. It is not an easy job, a job that many people wouldn't think of taking on. Because it's one thing to say something sitting in these seats, but there's a different perspective when you sit in the chairs that you're sitting in now. I understand that. But I would ask that there be that open dialogue to consider improvements by using the people that are here, as an employer, as a manufacturer. When we had problems in the plant, the people who had the solution to those problems were the people on the floor doing their job. Thank you so much for allowing me to speak.
Thank you for those who came to speak. If you want to leave now, you're welcome to leave. We'll give just a break if you want to leave, and we appreciate you coming. We have a resolution now. I'm going to turn this over to our city manager, Sammy Rich.
Thank you, Mayor. And what we have in front of us tonight are a couple of things that if this body wants to move forward, I would recommend perhaps two separate votes. And one would be to consider the intergovernmental agreement. And what we're talking about is House Bill 581, which would allow us to create the floating local option sales tax. And so if, maybe we're having some technical difficulties, but if we can get our agreement pulled up, and yeah, if you don't mind, if you pull the agreement up, I want to reference a couple of points in this. And so for those of you following along, we've talked about this a good bit, and what House Bill 581 does is it's really the first tool that local governments have been given by the state to really do something meaningful to help with property tax, the property tax burden. I don't personally know anybody that wants to pay more property tax. I've never met someone who enjoys property tax. However, as a community that is charged with delivering services, we have to pay for those services. And so, unfortunately, that has often required the use of property tax. And so, fast forward, with the imposition and with the approval of House Bill 581, what we now have in front of us is the opportunity. And so I want to mention a couple things out of the intergovernmental agreement tonight. And so, Joe, if you would scroll on down, I believe it's probably get to page 3 of this intergovernmental agreement, Article 7 there. So if approved, in the election held on November 4th, 2025, the imposition of the tax is expected to commence on January 1st, 2026. And as we've talked about, this is a new 5-year tax that will run through December 31st of 2020. And so what we're talking about, 2030. And what we're talking about is going from 7-cent sales tax to 8-cent sales tax. And so that's the magic of where does this money come from. Now, the reality, and Joe, if you'll scroll down a little more to the bottom, use of FLOST proceeds. If you look at item A there, is required to use FLOST proceeds exclusively to provide property tax relief. And so for the first time, I say first time since LOST, local option sales tax, was introduced. It basically started back in the late 70s, 1980. That was the first chance that we had. And so as a government, what this allows now is for this net new tax to be levied. And so as we have endeavored to look through this, it's very clear if we generate net new revenue from sales tax, according to the law, we have to then offset the property tax. So it's not found money, it's not net new money. I can't go buy police cars, I can't go buy fire trucks. The law requires we collect the new revenue, it's accounted for separately, it is in a separate fund, and then it must be used to reduce the millage rates. And so, Joe, if you will keep scrolling to page 11, I believe, sir. This kind of gets to the magic of the distribution that we're talking about. And so what we have is a proposal that we think this is going to generate roughly $20 million of net new revenue for both the city and the county. The distribution that we are proposing is a 68% Floyd County and a 32% City of Rome. And so, again, when we look at the numbers, what does that mean? And so I did a little math example here just for helping my simple brain. And if I'm in a $150,000 house, I want to know, well, what does that mean for me? And so in this example, we have to roll the millage rate down. We have to reduce it. And so if I'm in my $150,000 house and my city M&O is at 7.75 mills, and assuming we implemented this new FLOST, then my new millage rate would go down to 4.126 mills. And as a city taxpayer, I would also get the benefit because I too pay Floyd County M&O tax. This same example, my tax bill, my Floyd County piece on a $150,000 house would be $570. The new rate would go down to 6.38 mills, so that would be $382.98. So again, if I'm the city resident and I'm getting the benefit of both of these reductions, that's $404.46. And so this is just one example of how this would actually be implemented. Again, it's not net new money. It's simply the state has said, we're going to give you as a community a chance to take your property tax burden and offset that with sales tax. Now, as we talk a lot about sales tax in this community because of FLOST, which has been very helpful, what we estimate is 40% of our revenue that comes from sales tax is generated by those that don't live here. So when the people of Cherokee County, Alabama, or the people of Calhoun, or the people of Cedartown drive in to Rome to shop, they are helping us pay for our services. And so same thing applies here. If we've got a 40% investment by outsiders, I think that's a pretty good opportunity to have others help us leverage our dollars here in our community. We don't always get those opportunities. Again, we've had the local option sales tax in place since around 1980. Each year, if you look at your property tax bill, you will see where there is a rollback that is created from the local option sales tax. And so again, there's really no mystery. The money has to, if the money comes in, we have to account for it, and then we have to lower the millage rate. And so if you're a skeptical person and you think, I don't know that I believe this is going to be used for that, the reality is it has to be used for this, because if it's not, that becomes a finding in an audit, and then things are certainly bad from there. And so a couple of other thoughts on this. What we have is the opportunity to put this before the voters on the November ballot. And so what we're talking about tonight, if this body chooses to approve and move forward, then, and presumably Floyd County will have the opportunity, Floyd County Commission will take the same matter up tomorrow night and then call for the election. And so this would then be presented to the voters on the November ballot. One of the things that we've talked about and debated is at what point in time do we get to benefit? So it would stand to reason, as we understand the rules, and again, understand this is new. This is new in the state, so there's not a lot of examples of anybody we can call and say, hey, how's this going to work? Because we're all kind of learning together. If the ballot was approved in November, then starting January of 26, you would go from 7 cents to 8 cents. So theoretically, you collect all of 26, then we go into 27. When we set the millage rate in 27, the law requires the look back. We got to look back and see what was raised in the prior year, and then that's when we determine how much we cut the millage rate. Now, one of the caveats, we talked about this earlier today, a conversation, I've attempted to reach out to Senator Huffstetler because I want to have this conversation with Chuck, is the idea that I'm not sure how the state is going to interpret this, but what if they would allow us to implement in 26 so that we would deliver relief sooner to the property owners? The whole idea behind this is property tax relief. It stands to reason to me that the state would be favorable even if the delegation had to take this up again. I kind of think that would probably be something favorable. And so my intention is that we have that conversation as a way to try to push forward. Regardless, if that does not pan out, if the money has to be collected and we don't yet benefit until 27, it's still money in the bank that we will still get the benefit from as a community to lower our property tax. And Mayor, that's a lot of words, but I'm happy to try to answer any questions. But I would, if you all do want to take this up, I would recommend two separate actions. One is to approve the intergovernmental agreement with the condition that it be subject to attorney review, so we can finalize the distribution that we talked about in caucus, whether it's annual or monthly. And then the resolution will be separate action. And happy to try to answer any questions.
I'm going to entertain a motion in just a second, but I want to tell you, personally, my property taxes went up. I hate it. I hate property taxes. I think it's unfair. I'm old, and they're going to go up next year. It's unfair, but it is what it is. State Representative Shaw Blackman from Bonaire, Georgia, State Representative Chuck Huffstetler from Rome, Georgia, worked together, bipartisan effort to get this through the General Assembly. And it's the first effort that we have had successfully to bring property tax relief to the local level. And it is, it's a FLOST, it's another penny sales tax. And I'm willing to pay it. And I'm going to tell you another reason I'm willing to pay it. We passed a $150 million school bond for a middle school. I didn't vote for it. There's going to be an ELOST in 2027. If that ELOST doesn't pass, and it's a continuation to support that middle school, and what I'm telling you is Bible stuff. This is factual. If that doesn't pass, you're going to have a $4.5 millage rate increase if you live in the city. 4.5 mil increase. And that's another incentive for me to want to vote for this. Because if we get that 4.5 mil on top of what we've got right now, that's not good. So I'll entertain a motion.
Can I, oh, you're gonna have discussion later.
I'll make the motion.
Any other? Okay, you make a motion.
I'll second it.
Have a motion and a second. Any other discussion?
I would just say that, many of you heard me say that I've been around here for a long time, but this is the first opportunity I ever seen come across this here table that is gonna actually help citizens of Rome who are property owners. Not only that, it has never been a bill that all of you experienced over the last couple of years, your assessments going up. Well, that'll be hauled in, it'll be reined in. Can't be no more than, what, 3%, I think it is, right?
Presumably CPI.
Yeah, it'll be controlled. Right now, they can pretty much sit up there and assess your property, whatever they deem property, then you have to challenge it, no more. You get opportunity, if this passed this November, to say, yes, I want to help myself get in a better position. And think about the other things that could possibly happen. If this here county and this city grow, that 40% could turn into 50%. If you get a draw, really like let's just say a state fair, I won't even mention a water park. And again, I will. But it's a draw. Just think if all those people are coming here from these different other cities and participating. Right now, you're sitting on an average about 40% of this, they're gonna pay themselves. But if that ain't changed and we really begin to do things that's gonna attract other citizens not only move here, but to work here and play here in the city and the county, it's gonna be a great opportunity for us. At some point in time, this will be the only opportunity that we'll work towards being, not having to pay property taxes, period. This begins to put that nail in that coffin.
All right, any other comments from commissioners?
So I would like to share that last week, the city and the county met, and we could not agree on a split. We could not agree. Both governments have compromised. We went from a 60-40 to a 32-68, and they went from a 75-25 to a 32-68. So you can make an argument both ways, because if you live in the city of Rome, you pay a city tax and you also pay a county tax. And some would argue there's some duplication of service. But we have agreed this is earth-changing law. I mean, this is something we've never seen. This will be the most important decision, if it passes, we've made, certainly this year, but in years. So thank you.
Any other comments? Commissioner Cochran?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Some concerns I have about House Bill 581. I understand the intention of it, and believe me, I want property tax relief just as much as everybody else. However, I think it's important that everyone understands a few caveats associated with this. The first one, as the city manager mentioned, is that for 12 months, you will be collecting 8 cents of sales tax, and you will also pay full property taxes in 2026. If you have a house and you have a mortgage on that house, your property taxes are escrowed into your monthly payment. The property taxes that are escrowed into your monthly payment are determined off of the previous year's property taxes. So if you are a homeowner with a mortgage whose property taxes are escrowed, you will not see any relief until 2028, because your property tax amount that is escrowed will be based off of your 2026 property tax bill. One other thing, the county has estimated that this property tax, or this 1 penny sales tax, will approximately bring in $22 million. The city says around 20. Let's split the difference and just call it 21 million. That's $21 million that would come into this community, and granted, not all $21 million of it would, because some of it goes to Amazon and just, online shopping. We all do that. However, I would imagine that a vast majority of it will, and like we always say, 40% of a penny tax, a sales tax, is brought in from outside places like Calhoun and Center, Alabama. That money will leave this community for 1 whole year. The $22 million that would be brought into this community will be sent to the state. So in 2026, you will be paying 8-cent sales tax, you will be paying full-blown property taxes, and $22 million that normally comes into this community will vanish for 1 year. In addition, once again, if you have a mortgage and your property taxes are escrowed, you will not see relief in your mortgage bill until 2028. I understand the idea behind this bill. I really like it. The mechanism, however, to implement it, I think is flawed. So I will be voting no. Thank you.
I do have something I want to share.
Commissioner Beaman?
Although I do support the relief on the taxes of homes, I do have a concern about the renters. I keep stating that because 50% of the people in Rome City are renters. And I understand that that is a benefit of being able to share a home that someone else owns. But I didn't see anything in the bill or the proposal showing that we won't have any hikes in properties, in the rentals. I didn't see anything in there. So there's no guarantee that during that time frame that we have that waiting period, that there won't be an increase. So how are we going to sell this to 50% of the renters who are renting those homes without any type of relief or proposal in place? Sammy, I remember when COVID hit and we had people who were struggling to pay their rent, and we had funding set aside that they could apply for. I don't hear anything talking about those renters. I get it that they're occupying someone's home, but we don't even have a housing counseling agency here to assist. So how do we convince those to go to the polls and vote for something that's going to hurt them too? We're talking about homeless. We're talking about people who may be cutting their jobs in 2026. We're talking about people who may not even have the funding. So how do we sell what we don't have in place?
I would just comment behind that, Commissioner Bean, to say a lot of times renters are paying that extra penny or extra money because those assessments that went out the roof. And if you've been living in Rome and Floyd County in the past 2 or 3 years, those assessments, some of them have doubled. And if it's a tool come along to tighten that screw, I don't see how we not jump on that. It had never happened before, that you can kind of hold their hands to the fire. The other thing about this bill, coming behind what Commissioner Cochran is saying, there is an effort being made for that 1 year to go away. We just gotta see if maybe this senator from Rome, Georgia, who has worked with this other senator to put this bill before us, that you never had this opportunity before, get this here done. And after hearing this here crowd, I'm pretty sure that they thinking just like probably Commissioner Cochran is talking about. So let's see how not only we can tweak this to make it even better, but again, I think that would be a good thing if Sammy and Commissioner Bojo's brother-in-law can make that happen.
I'd just like to say, as much passion as there seems to be around this, we are not voting for this. We are voting to allow the people that are most passionate about this to make this decision. And I would also like, if Joe could clarify, if this does not pass in November, is there an opportunity for it to be voted again, and if so, when?
Commissioner Brock, it's my understanding of the law, if it fails, there's a one-year waiting period before it can be presented at a future referendum. 1 year waiting period for a failed referendum.
We're voting on two things. We're actually voting on the intergovernmental agreement with the county, the 68-32 split that we negotiated with the county. So that's the first thing that we're going to vote on is the split. And then we're going to vote on the resolution. Is that right, Sammy?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we're voting first on the split with the county, the 68-32 that we negotiated. Any other discussion about the split, about the negotiated 68-32 split? Ms. Clerk, call the roll.
Yes, sir. Commissioner Bojo,
Yes.
Brock,
Yes.
Cochran,
No.
Beeman,
Yes.
Doss,
Yes.
Quick,
Yes.
Collins.
Yes.
The second thing we're voting on is the actual resolution. And the resolution is what we're doing to allow this to go forward so we can take it to the citizens for a vote. And we'll be working with the county. The city and the county will work together, and we will partner with them, and we'll take it to the voters. But it'll be the voters' decision. The city commission won't make the decision. County commission won't make the decision. The voters will make that decision, and it'll be on a ballot, and it'll be voted up or down. So all we're voting now on the resolution to take it to the voters, and I'll need a motion for that.
I'll make that motion. Second.
I have a motion and a second.
That
Any
also need to
discussion on
be with the consideration of the attorney's review. Is that right?
The IGA.
Yeah, with the attorney's
Correct.
review.
The resolution
Yes.
was the attorney, yeah.
Yeah, the first one we
That
voted
need to be
on
part
was
of it.
intergovernmental agreement. This is the resolution so that we can move forward and take it to the voters.
This allows the voters to make the choice.
So there is an opportunity to address the education curve with this new House Bill 581 because, speaking as a Rome City Commissioner, it took me a little while to get the details right. And so, and I think we're going to have to work hard to make sure everyone understands, and we're very transparent about this new ordinance. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Mr. Clerk, call the roll.
Sir. Commissioner Bojo,
Yes.
Brock,
Yes.
Cochran,
No.
Beeman,
Yes.
Doss,
Yes.
Quick,
Yes.
Collins.
Yes.
Motion carries. We have three items on first reading. Commissioner Quick.
3 items on first reading from the Planning Commission is item Z25-06-04. It is the request to rezone from heavy industrial to high-density traditional residential for the property at 401 Cedar Avenue, Rome, Georgia 30161, Floyd County Tax Parcel J14M168. Comes with a Planning Commission recommendation of approval unanimously. Item Z25-06-05, a request to rezone from heavy industrial to high-density traditional residential for a property at 412 Cedar Avenue in Rome, 30161, Floyd County Tax Parcel J14M166, also with a Planning Commission recommendation of approval unanimously. And then item 3 on first reading, Z25-06-06, a request to rezone from community commercial to multifamily residential for the property at 2435 Shorter Avenue, Rome, Georgia, 30165, County Tax Parcel H13X309. Planning Commission voted to deny the motion by a vote of 3 to 5. And those go on first reading tonight.
These will be on second reading, and there'll be a public hearing at our next meeting. We have nothing on second reading tonight. We have nothing continued on first reading. We do have a public hearing tonight, and it is a public hearing for our 2025 tax increase. It's a proposed tax millage. Sammy, I'll let you begin.
Sure. Thank you, Mayor. We'll see if we can open some of these attachments, Joe. I forget which is, yeah, if we can start there. So you will first notice a couple of different things on this particular slide that I will endeavor to point out. The highlighted city M&O rate of 7.75 mils, and that is the same rate that we had last year. And so I will explain for everybody's viewing pleasure how we do the calculations. So the numbers in red, the 1.8 billion number, that is the digest value. So for us to determine how much tax is going to be generated, we take the millage rate, multiply that times our digest value, which is the 1.8 billion, and then you'll see times 93%. The 93% is what we estimate as the collection rate. And so obviously you wish to get 100%. And so in this case, we think, okay, Kevin Payne does a good job. He gets 93%. I did not state this last time when we went over this, but that's not to say that we simply write off 7% and say we don't need your money. We just, if assuming that comes in future years, we recognize that under prior year collection, and it is reflected in our financial statements. And so obviously we want everyone to pay in and pay their fair share. So in this case, with the millage rate at 7.75, keeping it the same as last year, you look to the two columns to your right, there's a 24 and a 25. You'll see the difference of 13.6 and 14.3. So because there's been a little growth in the digest, the $651,018, that's the net increase that will be generated. For capital tax, 1.75 mils, again, same as the 24 rate. And you will see that will net $194,875. And if you scroll down, you see city schools, M&O, again, same song and dance. The rate stays the same. The city schools digest is a little different value, you will notice, but we do also include the 93%. And for Rome City Schools, you see the difference of $1.636,193,000. Joe, if you would go back to the other enclosure. Okay. I'll try to cover this a little briefer than last time. We often get asked, well, where does the tax money go? And so in this example, I endeavor to simply just break out. Okay, if my home is valued at $143,250, tax bill received is for $2,037.14, then, well, how does that money get broken up? And so that's what this chart endeavors to show us. And so if you'll bear with me and you'll go clockwise, starting with the green slice of pizza that is labeled general government. And so you'll see general government $52, intergovernmental $3, public safety $114.84. So to understand these elements, the general government, that's basically the backbone. That's the information technology. That's the finance department. That's the purchasing department. That's administration. Public safety is Rome City Police in this case. You go on around public works, our streets and drainage, public facilities, that's the buildings, like the one we're sitting in tonight, the building next door. So familiar things. Public services, those are offices like our community development department, our environmental information, our downtown development authority. You will see capital, which goes to pay toward our capital funding. Contingency is just that. It's just a catch-all, $1.36. You will see that what I will say is a grayish blue transfers out. That looks like a big slice of pie, $149. That includes what we pay for Rome Fire Department. So that's the city share of Rome Fire, which includes $11 million. Floyd County residents have an unincorporated only millage rate that they use to pay for their portion of fire. So if you looked at all those slices of pie to the right, that totals $533. That's the portion out of this tax bill that goes to the city of Rome for what we do. As a city resident, we all know you're also a county resident. So the yellow slice of pie, that's what you pay as a city resident who also pays county M&O, $544. And then if you continue with the largest piece of the pizza, and that's the red, and that's Rome City Schools at $959.77. And again, this isn't unusual or abnormal when you look at how local governments and school tax bills, this is usually the case. I would argue and would suggest to anybody that I feel when you break down the numbers, we're able to deliver some pretty excellent city services for the piece of the pie that we're responsible for. The millage rate is, again, what the Rome City Commission is responsible to set. We do not have any bearing on assessed values. Joe, I think there's a couple more slides attached. 5-year history, perhaps. Okay. So if we go back to our last meeting, Mr. Swanson came and asked some questions about our 5-year advertisement. And after looking into this matter, what we discovered is that when we looked at a 5-year history, it was 5, not present year and past 5. And so for some number of years, the oldest year fell off of the city template. And so just so there's no mystery, I want everyone to see what we're talking about. So in this case, we corrected the advertisement, so the 2020 column would have disappeared. And Joe, I believe if you scroll, I think we've also got Rome City Schools, and again, the 2020 column. And then there should be one more slide. And this is just a look back. You know, the state requirement is to do that present year and the 5-year, and so we sometimes get caught up in the data that we're surrounded by and take for granted, but when you look at the 20-year, if you go back and look at 2005, and just to understand this color graph, the bottom is Rome City, that's us, the M&O. The green piece of the pie is our capital. We don't have school bonds since 2005. That's what the mayor alluded to earlier, that we could have. And then the red at the top is the Rome City Schools. And so, again, 26.25, that's the millage for last year. That's also what we're recommending this year. Yes, it is advertised as a tax increase. Ironically, we're not increasing the tax. We're keeping it the same. But as the state law requires, if you don't go to the rollback rate, then you have to advertise it as though you're increasing your millage rate. And so, as you guys can see, if you'll look, go back to say look at 2010. We were at 26.15 back in 2010, and now we're still at 26.25. I would submit to you that's a pretty stable picture of a community that has not been crazy raising tax rates, which is the portion that is controlled by this body. And so, Mr. Mayor, I'm happy to attempt to answer any questions, but from here on, we would need to conduct a public hearing and conclude that portion before moving forward with an adoption of a resolution.
I'm going to go ahead and open the public hearing. Is anyone here to speak in favor of the tax increase? Come on now. All right, we would give 10 minutes for those speaking in favor of. We'll give 10 minutes for those speaking in opposition. Since we don't have anybody speaking in favor, we'll give 20 minutes to those speaking in opposition. So if you want to speak in opposition, we'll time you. So you got a total of 20 minutes. Y'all divide it up, ever how you want to divide it up. Go to the podium and give us your name and address. Anybody want to speak? Yes.
My name is Billy Cooper. I live at 56 Mountain Crest Drive in Rome, Georgia, and I came and spoke at one of the prior hearings. And I'm not going to repeat what I spoke at that hearing, but as I sit here and I listen at the charge of the Rome City Commission as well as the city manager, I do think it's important for us to point out one data point. And that one data point was what was published in the Rome News Tribune, and that is from the tax assessor's office that the average citizen, the average property owner in Rome City would see an 8% increase in their property assessment. That will transfer to an increase in taxes. So even though the millage rate is flat by the bar graph that's there, in reality, there will be an 8% increase in the amount of money that you will contribute from your property taxes. And I do think that it's important not to skip over that. And the reason being is because that doesn't mirror the general inflation rate that's reported by the federal government. It also doesn't mirror what the majority of the people in the community are probably getting in their in an increase in their earnings. And we had a business owner here, Mr. Newby, I think he must have left, oh, there he is, who ran a corporation for a long time. And I'm pretty sure that he never gave an 8% increase in wages to any of his employees. So that's a significant number. And I think going forward that it's important that we focus on that percent reality, because percentages will ultimately break you.
Anyone else?
Hi, Mark Swanson, 224 Rollingwood Circle. I just have a question. What if you vote no on the tax increase? What happens?
What if we vote no?
Yeah.
And I want to thank you for the comments you made last week, because you pointed out that we made an error and it helped us. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. Well, what if you vote no? Are we going to have to close the school system down? Are we going to have to shut the city down? My garbage truck's not going to come by anymore? Sammy Rich is going to have to take the next year off without pay? If you vote no, I keep hearing that the discussion is that this new sales tax gimmick is the first tool you've ever had to lower property taxes. Really? You have a tool in your back pocket today that you don't even need our approval for. You don't have to get attorneys to sign. You don't need to get the people to vote on it. And it's within your power, within your grasp, sitting right here tonight. And it's the power to say no. It's the power to tell your city manager, enough's enough. The people just can't afford it. Now, it would be a whole nother thing if I could just bill my company and say, you know, my property taxes went up, my groceries went up, all this stuff I have to pay for went up, so you're going to have to give me a 20% raise just to keep up with my expenses. So I'm just going to send my company a bill. And guess what they're going to send me in return? A pink slip. And that's what you expect us to do. You just expect us just to keep paying and keep paying and keep paying when you have the power to say, no, we're not going to approve. Not only are we not going to approve a tax increase, but we're going to use the power that people gave us to control the pocketbook. We don't have that power, because here's the other thing. If I say, you know, I don't like the way my money's being spent, and I want to spend less. I'm just going to stop sending in my property tax bill. I'm going to vote with my dollars. But what happens to my house if I do that? I don't get to keep it, do I? Will you let me keep it? If you'll vote to give me that decision, I don't care what you raise the taxes to, as long as you don't charge me. So, I don't think it's a lot to ask, guys and ladies. In my house, if I don't get that 20% raise, but my expenses go up 20%, guess what I got to do? Got to take the scissors out. Go line by line, baby. Can we do without the cable bill? It's $200-something a month. We got to tighten it somewhere. Do we do that? Or maybe do we cut out eating, going out to eat for the rest of the month to balance the budget? It's within y'all's power. You don't need legislation passed. You don't need any gimmicks or fancy arguments or rhetoric or whatever you want to call it. All you got to do is say, Sammy Rich, sorry, buddy. People are done paying. We need the city to cut back. And we need the city schools to cut back. Now, if you cut back and I don't get my trash picked up, well, I'm going to be unhappy about that. But I'll be a lot less happy if I'm paying significantly less taxes, property taxes. And I will tell you, I've run some numbers. We can do without property taxes. Did you know that? That sounds scary, doesn't it? It's not as scary as you think. What's scary is we can't afford to pay our property taxes, so we're going to have to sell our homes and move somewhere else. That's what's scary. We should have a right to stay in our house forever, especially if I paid for it. But now I have to lease it from you guys? Really? Who owns the property then? You do, not us. So I think y'all need to vote no. I think you need to take a month off. I think you need to go back to the well and ask Sammy Rich and all his departments. You need to ask the City of Rome school system, what can you guys do to cut? Or you can vote to approve your tax increase. But just know you're inviting the citizens' anger. The citizens have had enough. If you haven't heard that, let me be the first to tell you. They're tired of it. Now, if we had the power to change that, we would have already changed it. But we gave you the power. If you don't want the power, hey, it's no hard feelings. Just resign and step down, and we'll find somebody else to run in your place. We're not making y'all sit up here and make these decisions. But I'm just telling you, we the people have had enough, and we just ask that you do your job and find a way to be more efficient to deliver the services. And if you're going to have to cut out some services, cut out some services. I don't know what they are, but I'll be happy to sit down with Sammy and his finance team and go, let's figure out where we can cut. I'm sure Ken and David Newby would be willing to do that. We probably have other citizens who have experts in budget and in management. We'd be happy to do that, and we won't even charge. Well, Ken might charge, but I won't charge. So please, just say tonight to the tax people, we hear you. We feel your pain. We know we can't stick it to you every year. We're going to have to tighten our budgets. And let it start tonight with each of you. Thank you.
Anybody else? Let me ask you a question. How many of y'all live in the city? We've got 7 seats coming up on the Rome City School Board. Instead of coming and talking to us, why don't you qualify and run?
I would like to address that because that keeps coming up.
I want you to.
I don't. Are you saying that the people have to run for you to listen to us?
We do a great job up here, but what I'm telling you is, if you
great job of what?
School board, run for the school board.
You guys are elected to do the job. Why do you need us to do it? Are you saying you won't do it?
We're doing our job.
Okay, I hope y'all got that all on video, that they're doing their job by sticking it to us on taxes. It's your call, guys. It's your call, but we've had enough.
Anybody else want to speak? Anybody else want to speak? Not, I close public hearing. Mr. Clark?
Well, Mr. Mayor, we now come to the point in the meeting to address the resolution to establish our 2025 tax rate.
Okay. So I need a motion to adopt the 2025 tax millage rate resolution.
I will make that motion that we adopt it as presented.
Have a motion, need a second.
I'll second the motion.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
Pardon?
May I talk?
Yes, you might.
Thank you. A few things that the general public may not be aware of, and I want to start this off by saying this is not the city manager's fault. It is not. The power to fix this lies within this elected body. But you need to know a few things that what should go on, and in my opinion, should be going on, but actually don't go on. So the superintendent was kind enough to give us a budget calendar. And this is what the City of Rome Schools goes through, and you see the dates, and you see what is supposed to happen. The City Commission is not involved in the budget. We don't have budget meetings throughout the year. We're given the budget 2 weeks before it's voted on. We are not part of the process. Once again, it's not city manager's fault. I just want to say that again. We don't have input into what gets decided. It gets decided, and then it goes through the works, and it's presented to us approximately, last year it was 1 week before, because of some timing issues. Once again, not city manager's fault. Just thought everybody should be aware of that. So when I mentioned the budgeting issue 2 weeks ago, that's what I was talking about. Number two, once again, not the city manager's fault. The city manager has no spending limit. In addition, we have no contract oversight. We do not see contracts before they are signed, except in rare exceptions. I am not kidding. It is rare. It's not that if we asked for them, we couldn't see them. The city manager would be glad to share them with us, but look, as a city commission, if we ask the city manager to wear a pink shirt every Tuesday, the city manager is going to show up in a pink shirt every Tuesday. If we ask the city manager to give us oversight of contracts and budgets and spending limits, he will gladly do it because he works for this elected body. These issues have been raised. They have not been resolved. Lastly, once again, not the city manager's fault. The auditor is selected by the city manager and his team as finance director, and is not an independent auditor separate from the city manager. We do not select the auditor. The auditor does not work for us. That's not to say, in any shape, form, or fashion, that I am accusing anyone of doing anything illegal, underhanded, or stealing money in any shape, form, or fashion. All the audits that we have received back have been excellent, and that is great work. However, best practices dictate that the auditor should be independent from those that it is auditing. And so when you ask how we have arrived in this situation, I just want to let you know, and I'm about to take as big a lump as everybody else up here, it's on us. And we need to inject ourselves into the process, and we have not done it yet. And until that happens, every increase that comes along, be it water, which was raised 5% last year and it's going up 5% this year, or every single tax increase that has come along, I will vote no on every single one of them if we're not included in this process. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor,
But Commissioner Cochran, to be honest, you voted for the middle school. You were the fifth vote on the middle school, and then you voted against the budget. Are you going to vote for the FLOST when it comes around?
Are you talking about me or are you talking about them?
I'm talking to you.
Your personal opinion of my position on this issue is not my problem, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, I'm just asking.
Mr. Mayor, if I
People
may.
need to know that you voted for a $150 million middle school, and then you voted against the budget to support it.
Just to clarify, I think that was $155 million worth of debt service. Am I correct on that?
Yeah.
Does that sound right?
$150 million. And we
So,
voted against the budget.
I mean, that's not the cost of the school, but that's what it's going to cost the taxpayers, $155 million. Commissioner Cochran proudly proclaimed that he was that swing vote on that. I was not on that commission. This is a new commission, but we have to deal with what has gone on before us. That went on before us. The majority of this is the school. If you think you can't build a $120 million facility, keep the old facility, and not have an increase in what it costs for you to operate the thing, you're crazy. I mean, it's going to cost you more. We're going to have to deal with it. We're going to have to sharpen our pencils. There's no doubt about that. There's a lot, I mean, this is not for one spliced, this is not for 5 years. This is for a long time. This is $155 million. We've got to deal with it. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, if I may follow up with
Commissioner Collins.
Mr. Cochran, I got to commend him on. I want to commend Commissioner Cochran on his bringing out exactly what it is that we as commissioners, our positions that we hold. I alluded to it earlier when we was having the conversation when the school board was here, that we're not part of the process when it comes, unless I had not asked chairman to have the budget sent out to all the commissioners. They would not have them in their hands today. They got them yesterday, and I just happen to live with the chairman, so, and a married chair. I asked that to happen. I don't blame Mr. Manager because the situation and the status of where we sit today, it's been going on for years. This ain't nothing that's how he was trained. That's how the charter was wrote. We really don't have to be the overseers of this Rome City school. Not really, because most of the other counties and cities, they don't. And they don't. That mechanism was put in place years ago for pretty much the way you see it now. I'm just saying to you that, Mr. Manager, I've been a mayor before. And I know sometimes the way the politics swings. It wasn't the fault of the past commission that was here, the reason that we voted to have a new school. Hell, it was needed. Buford just voted for $62 million for an athletic football field. They felt like they needed it. But this is Rome City Commission that over oversees Rome City School at this point. And for the life of me, I have never witnessed such quietness when a group of people come up and was saying things about that was proven untrue here tonight about our own school. And that's why I raised the fact that, the chairman, I wasn't calling you out, Commissioner Bojo, and again I was, because the system is what I was really calling out. I didn't have a clue about the facts that what the superintendent brought. Cochran didn't have a clue. Brock didn't have a clue. Randy didn't have a clue. We don't sit on finance. And unless it's up to the leadership, Mr. Mayor, to make sure that all of us equally, you guys gonna probably come down here and fuss at us like hell all the time, because we don't know. And my gripe was, Mr. Manager, and I hope you're taking notes, that enough of that. Hell, I don't want to take the abuse for something I really can't control. Now, if you elected me like you have, and I have to sit up here and voice my opinion, no different than Commissioner Cochran, I hate seeing him. It's almost like he get in trouble. Man, forget that. It's about the seat, and it's about that chair that you sitting in, Mr. Mayor. I looked out there and I didn't see no color. I didn't see no favoritism. It was about treating everybody the same. I heard it was some words about, I'm gonna give you guys more time because y'all some awful good people in here. Man, all of us are good people. I'm just saying to you, it's leading and having the courage to lead. And again, I commend you, Commissioner Cochran. I know from the time that I served in a seat that no black man has ever sat in, it didn't matter to Sammy. It didn't matter. And he's taking notes, because it's going to be a time that's probably going to happen again, and he might have an opinion. But this time around, just like you guys came real to us and how you felt, I hope you're getting a picture as to how some of us really feel on this commission. We all of us don't have no more power than the other. These seats it wasn't made up like that. I don't care whether you're the mayor or what. He got an obligation to do what he got to do, and we got an obligation to do what we got to do, because we are who we are. Mr. Manager, I can say this about you. You've done one hell of a job. I don't know how I would have sat in that chair and put up with 9 of us. I really don't.
Any other comments? Commissioner Doss?
I just would like to say that, and don't take this the wrong way, but it's not the job of a Rome City Commissioner to micromanage every department and every decision. We have a committee system. Every commissioner chairs the committee. We've talked about Finance Committee, but we have a number of committees, and we have some joint committees with the county. But, and I will also say, and this will never change, there is always room for improvement. Always. Thank you.
Any other comments? Commissioner Quick.
I just want a point of clarification, because some things were said about the school vote. There was not anyone on the Rome City Commission who did not want a school. What we objected to was the price. And we tried to get a delay to take a look at that price, but we didn't have the number of votes to make that happen. So we were not against a school. I told my grandson, who goes to that school, you're going to hear somebody tell you one time that your grandfather didn't want that school. Grandfather wanted him to have a great school. He didn't want him to pay for it when he was 35 years old.
Any other comments?
Yes, sir. I have waited long enough. First of all, I want to say that everybody had an opportunity to go and sit when Dr. Holland stood here and said that they have budget meetings, and it's open to the public, and they have it every year and they advertise it. Every last one of us had the opportunity to show up, and we did not. Second of all, it was in the evenings on the weekend. It was advertised. Also, Rome City, it is not our job to sit there and micromanage Rome City Schools. They have a board that was elected by the people who goes through, and they sat down with us when they came to even to our budget meeting. Did they not, Sammy? Did they not sit down and go through every last one? Commissioner Bojo, did they not go through every last one of their items? Didn't they go through every last one of the items that they asked for? The monies for when they produced their budget? When Rome City Schools came to produce their budget, did they not sit down and go through every last one of their items with us?
When they met with us?
Yes.
They went through most all the items.
They went through every last one of the items that was listed.
Most of them.
Most of the categories. So if there was an issue, and they advertised their budget, so if there was an issue with the budget, they had an open, didn't y'all have an open? I know they didn't.
No, it's not a public hearing.
I get it.
Alvin, that's not a public hearing. Y'all done.
So my comment is, we went to the polls when we asked for a sixth grade academy. We went to the polls, and we voted, yes, let's produce a sixth grade academy. Go back and look at the numbers. Go back and look at your past newsletter articles. We voted yes, but we couldn't produce that sixth grade academy because then we went into COVID. Then we voted to add we had another meeting, a public hearing on that, and we wanted to say we couldn't, our 7th and 8th grade school systems, that school that we had was dilapidating, and we needed to improve it. So then they said, okay, then they took away the funding for it, so we couldn't produce a sixth grade academy, but our schools were growing out the yin-yang. All our schools are growing. West End has over 1,000 students, just as equal to the middle school, if not greater. But the sixth grade academy, that we got to move those sixth graders out to be able to put them to be able to have growth in the middle schools, elementary schools, should I say elementary schools. We're the only ones in the Floyd County, in this county, other counties have 6th, 7th, and 8th graders. So when we decided to put a middle school together with 6th, 7th, and 8th graders, they can't be housed over there at that middle school right now that's dilapidated. I'm not even going to argue. I'm giving my comments. But right now, you voted. We, the citizens, voted to create a middle school, created it with 6th, 7th, and 8th. It is not our job to micromanage what we elected Rome City Board of Education to be able to handle the budget. We had an opportunity to show up. We did not. My concern is you're making these comments. We just said that all we're doing is voting to put it on the ballot. Y'all are the ones who are going to vote to see if it passes the ballot. Y'all do have that right if everybody in this room don't represent all Rome City. So there's other people that might be out there thinking differently that are not here right now. We don't know until you show up at the polls. So that's what we're here today for. But I want y'all to think about why you keep giving Rome City a bad image. They represent us. And I want y'all to look at who's the makeup right now. I just talked about only 50% of the people in Rome City actually, 52% actually rent houses out of the 100%, 50%. And then there's 91% that's occupied right now. Then you look at the poverty rate that we have right here, and everybody says get over the poverty rate, get over the issues with poverty. The makeup of Rome City schools are the kids that live in poverty. And I'm saying right now that they're below the reading level, but if you do the makeup, you're right, they combined right now. Hispanics and African Americans are grouped together as minorities. Although the Hispanics now in Rome City schools are the majority. They are the majority. And then it goes into the the African Americans that's in the school system, but they're below reading level, and you ask me, how do these kids get into the issue that they are right now? If they are not reading on grade level, we don't have enough early learning centers. By the time they reach third grade, if they're not reading on grade level, then it's going to be almost impossible to catch up. These are our children. These are our citizens. These are our kids. You go to the Floyd County system, since you're comparing them, Floyd County is majority white. And then they group Hispanics and blacks together, but they're also not on reading level. The kids that's below, that's in poverty, are also not on reading level. So you talk about combining them, are we solving the issue, or are we creating a bigger issue? We got to take care of home first, which is the city of Rome.
Not a public hearing. Not a public hearing. It's not a public hearing. Well, it's not a public hearing.
I just want to say one thing, and this is it. Sammy, you do an awesome job.
Thank you.
You really do. And it is not our
Any
job to
other comments?
micromanage. It is not our job to micromanage what we elected us to
Beaman?
do.
Commissioner Beaman,
Yes, sir.
are you finished?
I'm finished now.
Okay. Anybody else have anything to say? We have a motion and a second for the 2025 tax millage rate resolution. Mr. Clerk, call the roll.
Commissioner Bojo?
Yes.
Brock?
Yes.
Cochran?
No.
Beeman?
Yes.
Dawes?
Yes.
Quick?
Yes.
Collins?
Yes.
Motion carries. Mr. Clerk, you got anything?
Well, just in the way of a reminder, we touched on this tonight, but there is a city election this year on November 4th for the 7 Rome Board of Education seats and 3 city commission seats, the 3 Ward 2 commissioners. Next week is a very important week. It's called qualifying week. Anybody who's going to run in that election has to qualify next week. We'll use the maximum time that the state allows. We'll start qualifying at 8:30 on Monday, and it'll run through 4:30 on Friday in my office downstairs here at City Hall. So that's the opportunity for anyone who wants to run for one of those 10 seats.
Mr. Clerk, what is the qualifying fees?
Qualifying fees are 3% of the annual salaries. So that means $360 for a Rome City Commissioner, $180 for a Rome Board of Education.
Thank you.
Mr. Manager?
No report.
Madam Attorney? No report. Under my time, Rome Floyd Development Authority will meet on Tuesday, August 19th at 800 Broad Street. Commissioner Bojo.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Under community redevelopment, I have 2 issues. Both of them are transfers of property. The first property is on Smith Street, and I'm asking that you vote to transfer that property that is owned by the city of Rome and given to the Land Bank Authority. And then the second one, we have to vote for these separately?
I'll do separate.
Okay, so we need to vote for these separately. So I don't think we need a motion for this. Okay, then I'll make a motion that we transfer the Smith Street property to the land bank.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Mr. Clerk, call the roll.
Commissioner Bojo?
Yes.
Brock?
Yes.
Cochran?
Yes.
Beeman?
Yes.
Dawes?
Yes.
Quick?
Yes.
Collins?
Yes.
Mr. Mayor, the second one is a piece of property that is on Vineland Drive, and I'll make a motion that we transfer that piece of property to the Land Bank Authority.
Have a motion and a second.
Second.
Mr.
Motion
Mayor,
and a second. Any discussion?
yes, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to abstain from voting on this here
Commissioner Collins abstains.
property.
Commissioner Collins, can you tell us why you're abstaining so I can get that?
That property was on no tax roll. It came up for opportunity to be advertised and then bidded on. And with my property right directly beside that property, I put in the bid on it, and I wanted to disclose that, so I won't be voting on it.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Any other discussion? Mr. Clerk, call the roll.
Commissioner Bojo?
Yes.
Brock?
Yes.
Cochran?
Yes.
Beeman?
Yes.
Dawes?
Yes.
Quick?
Yes. That concludes my report.
Commissioner Brock,
No report.
Commissioner Beeman,
The library board will meet on Thursday, August the 21st at the Sarah Hightower Regional Library. That concludes my report.
Commissioner Doss,
Just quickly, I want to thank Sammy and his team for doing a great job. A lot of times, we talk about that the city has too many commissioners, but we've had a city manager form of government and 9 commissioners for how long, Joe?
Oh, we've had 9 commissioners since, I believe, 1929.
And it's worked really well for a long time. Thank you.
Commissioner Cochran, I didn't mean to skip you. I'm getting old.
No, no report, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Quick,
Just one meeting announcement. Public Works Traffic Transit Trails Committee will meet Wednesday, August 13th, 10 a.m. in the Sam King Room, and that's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Commissioner Collins,
Northwest Regional Commission will meet Thursday, 21st, at 11 a.m. at the Civic Center. No report on the other 2 committees, Mr. Mayor.
thank you. Commissioner Robinson is not here. He's enrolling his daughter in the college out in California. ACC, I don't think is going to meet.
We are.
They're going
Yes,
to
we
meet
are.
on Monday, August 18th at 5 p.m. in the commission chambers. And the Downtown Development Authority will meet on Thursday, August 14th at 8:30 a.m. in the Milner Building. Being no other business before the commission, we are adjourned.